What's up, guys? Today on People Now, a coronavirus outbreak at a nursing home sends residents into a care facility. We'll tell you what we've learned.
James Van Der Beek and his family are social distancing, but making it cozy.
Stories that'll make you smile. A student who made a replica of their high school using Minecraft. We'll tell you how they plan to celebrate graduation and prom virtually.
Alicia Keys opens up to people with an exclusive excerpt from her emotional new autobiography.
Plus, you might be stuck at home. That doesn't mean you can't keep your face fresh. Our expert dermatologist shows us how to make a rejuvenating face mask from your pantry.
That and more, all today on People Now. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to People Now. Happy Thursday. I'm Andrea Boehlke here in Wisco. Jeremy's holding things down in New York. How's it going, Jeremy?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Jeremy Parsons, still here in New York City. Things are going well. There actually everyone that I've known ever has reached out to me saying, are you okay in New York? And we are. Things are actually holding down pretty well. By the way, I have installed a light now, and I'm so proud of it. It's a special, I'm an electrician. I installed a lighting fixture. Yeah, these are things I'm learning while stuck inside. So pretty proud of that. Unusually proud of it, actually. But
I mean, I've been doing a lot of dishes for my whole family 2 days in a row, so I deserve a pat on the back.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, we have a lot to get to today. Starting off on a somber note, here's what you need to know and what's trending today.
Residents of St. Joseph's Senior Nursing Home in Woodbridge, New Jersey were transferred on Wednesday to a nearby care facility after an outbreak of coronavirus among the residents. Health officials requested the move after a dozen employees were homesick with respiratory symptoms, and 24 residents already tested positive for COVID-19. The officials are now operating under the assumption that all 94 residents will test positive for the virus.
During a press conference earlier this week, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy told reporters that the situation began unfolding on Friday and was quickly handled thanks to Care One and staff at both nursing homes. State Health Commissioner Judith Persicoli told reporters that the impact of the virus and move could result in the closure of St. Joseph's.
For most people, coronavirus will cause mild to moderate symptoms, such as a fever and a cough that clear up in 2 to 3 weeks. However, in older people and those with existing health conditions, it can cause more severe illness, which can lead to pneumonia and death.
According to a database compiled by the New York Times as of March 26th, there have been over 4,400 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and over 60 deaths in the state of New Jersey. All right, so if self-isolation has you wondering what day it is, or even what month it is, you are not alone. So James Van Der Beek shared an adorable photo of him and his kids to Instagram. They're all dressed up in matching reindeer pajamas. His wife is by his side wearing candy cane PJs. They're very cute. He captioned the post, "Have officially entered the wear Christmas pajamas and project movies on the dining room wall phase of the quarantine." Van Der Beek went on to recommend the movie Onward to his followers, saying, "Either I've gone stir crazy or it's my new favorite Pixar movie, or perhaps both."
There you go, to James and his kids. They seem to be keeping busy during their time of social distancing. He also posted this cute photo of his kids blocking the doorway with a stack of pillows, blankets, stuffed animals a few days ago. Maybe making a little fort. I don't know. I've been making some tents, massive sheet tents, which, again, I'm very proud of that, too. Oddly proud. Anyway, it's fun.
Well, I want to see some pictures of that, Jeremy. I want to see those fort pictures.
I'll work it out.
Well, we're all keeping busy. Everyone, we want to hear from you. Share what cozy activities you and your family are doing to stay busy and sane by tweeting us with the hashtag #PeopleNow.
All right, all week we've been bringing you stories to make you smile, people doing great things and staying positive amid coronavirus.
And today we're turning the spotlight onto students who are finding creative ways to stay in touch with their classmates and friends during this isolation period. One student in New York took it to a whole new level when she decided to use Minecraft to build a replica of her school, Hunter College High School, so her classmates could celebrate prom and graduation. That student is Ruby Allison.
Well, it really started as a joke. You know, people were going around saying like, oh, now that we can't have prom, we should just have a Minecraft prom. And, a lot of people took it off. But I was like, that's actually, I love Minecraft. I would like to have prom. It sounds like a great idea. And so I got on my server and we went on Google Maps, Google Earth, and it turns out that they have this topographical view of all of New York. And so we were able to take that and copy it right into the game.
Wow. So I imagine something like this would take a long time. So how long did it take? How many people were involved?
Well, it actually took a shorter time than you would think, since we had so many people who were really excited about working on the project, that once we really started going, I thought it would take a very long time, but everyone got on and they started working, and we had it done within a few days, the exterior.
Wow, pretty impressive. How many people total do you think were actually working on it?
I'd say 10 or 11 total.
Okay. How did it feel when you finally finished it?
Well, it was almost uncanny standing in the courtyard and seeing these views that I had seen for so long in real life. And it really felt almost for a second like I was returning to, normal school function.
Yeah, I mean, look, the quarantine was very shocking, very abrupt for a lot of people around the world, but especially students. I feel for students. You're not able to do your prom, your graduation, these things that you usually have a lot of memories with. Here, you're able to actually do it. But when you first heard about the news of staying at home, how did you deal with it initially? And then how did building this replica kind of help you and your fellow classmates?
Right. Well, initially, I was just so surprised, and it really shook me off my schedule. And, I didn't know what to do. It was hard for me to get organized. But I think once me and my friends found something to do, and especially this thing to do that feels so much, so connected to our school, I think it really brought us together, and I think it gave us that sort of semblance of normalcy that we needed to, keep going in this super, super weird time.
Yeah, and obviously you must love your school if you're willing to build a replica of it. What was your favorite part to build or finish?
There's a hallway that I sit in school almost every day, and there's a little window off that hallway that looks out over the courtyard, and you can always see this specific view of the courtyard. You can see kids playing soccer and everything. And there was a point where I got to working on that hallway, and I stood in that hallway and I looked at the little Minecraft window, and I was floored. I had shivers because it was the exact same view that I'd seen every day in real life.
You get this virtual prom and virtual graduation. Walk us through what that's going to look like.
Well, I've been thinking about this. Since it's not, run by the administration like the real graduation is, I think it's going to be maybe a little bit more comedic than the normal graduation.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be an opportunity for all of us to get together and really celebrate the time that we had together in school. I think, there's a little bit of added pomp and circumstance, but I think that's what the real prom and graduation are anyway.
Yeah, are you going to be Skyping in, doing video? How is that logistically going to work, just out of curiosity?
Well, I think we're all going to be on a big group call, and then as many of us as possible are going to be on the server. But I had an idea that since not everyone in my school has Minecraft, that I could live stream myself attending prom and graduation, and I could set that live stream up so that everyone in the school or everyone in our grade could watch it.
I love it. You're so creative, Ruby. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us and chatting with us. I'm definitely going to be on the lookout to see how this all goes down. And congratulations on your upcoming graduation.
Thank you for having me.
All right, stay with us. We're showing you some of the best DIY face masks that you can actually make at home. Plus, actress Shira Haas stars in Netflix's new 4-part series, Unorthodox. She's sharing with us why this story blew her mind. Stick around. We're joined again by People's Editor-in-Chief, Dan Wakeford. Like all of us, still working from home. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good. I'm bearing up.
Yeah, it's been an interesting process for sure, especially in the delivery of the magazine and getting all these great stories. This particular week, there are some stories in the cover story focusing on kindness and courage in the face of coronavirus. So many great, positive, uplifting stories, which I think we all need and kind of want to feel and hear right now. Let's start with the celebrities. How are we seeing them step up?
We're seeing everybody step up, but celebrities have really stepped up. They're really putting their hands in their pockets, and they're really putting their action where their mouth is. It's like you've got Russell Wilson and Ciara, who donated 1 million meals to a Seattle-based food organization, Lifeline. You've got donations from Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Kevin Love, Rihanna, John Rich. There's so many people who have been doing such great work here.
Someone that we've been following along with, Jimmy Fallon, figuring out how to do his show, doing some work from home, which has been entertaining, but why is he included in the issue?
He's been doing some really fun stuff. He's been putting out mini versions of his show at home and using them to benefit various charities to raise funds for people in need. And the shows have been absolutely really cute. His wife, Nancy, is the camera operator, and his kids are the new guest stars of the show. And they've been helping out. I'm not sure they actually realise that they're being broadcast to millions of people, but they're having great fun and doing great good for the world.
It's entertaining, yeah, doing some good, and it's really adorable, too, and hilarious along the way. We're also seeing stars like Jennifer Garner and Amy Adams really promoting education. So many of us are have become instant stay-at-home homeschool teachers, which is a crazy thing, especially in our house. They're currently doing stuff on the iPad right now in the other room at my house. Tell us a little bit about what Jennifer and Amy are up to.
Well, they've really helped step up because obviously they also understand the need as well for this. And they've been reading kids' books from home to benefit charities. And they have been doing this with their Save with Stories initiative. Which is really good work, providing good things and also raising money. Misty Copeland and BJ Novak and other stars have also been doing this. They've signed on with the new Read Together, Be Together initiative, and it features daily story times and it encourages parents to read with their kids.
The great thing about People, we cover celebrities, but we also cover real everyday people and some of the incredible work they're doing. What are some of the stories you're excited for readers to see in this week's issue?
I mean, there are so many amazing stories in this week's issue that are inspiring and bring you a little bit of joy. There's a pizzeria in California, and they didn't do a small thing, they did a medium thing. They actually gave away free medium pizzas to people over 70 who are shut at home, which is really, really sweet. Yeah. And then there's whiskey distillers across America who've switched from making booze to hand sanitizer because one of the byproducts from whiskey is ethanol, which is used to make hand sanitizer. And they've been giving that out to people in need. Hopefully they're still making a little bit of whiskey.
They can do the dual job there. Look, adults aren't the only people getting in on pitching in with kindness. We've seen kids stepping up, doing some things that are highlighted in the issue as well.
Oh, certainly. There's been kids who've stepped up to adopt dogs in California. Pet shelters weren't considered an essential area. And so they were shut down and they had a minimum about 12 hours to find homes for 200 dogs, and kids have stepped up, persuaded their parents, now's the time for us to foster a dog, and they managed to find homes for all of those 200 parents. You've also got high school kids, a high school choir who were inspired by the kids in Italy and decided to sing Over the Rainbow, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which was really inspiring and joyful. You've got two kids in Ohio who've been practicing cello on their front porch, giving melodic entertainment to their neighbors, and also the music's gone viral. So some really beautiful stuff from children.
It's creative and it's heartfelt. You've been up close and personal as you put the issue together with a lot of these stories. What are you taking away? What, for people maybe that are watching that want to spread kindness, what are you seeing happening that maybe the everyday person could get involved with and while they're in social isolation?
Well, the number one thing to do and the easy thing to do is to check in with people. I mean, it's a really difficult time. Even the most robust people during this time are struggling. Even people who are extroverts, usually, especially people who are usually extroverts who thrive on social activity, I think they are struggling at this time. So check in with people, talk to people. There's also begun to be financial impacts because of the coronavirus and people losing their jobs. If you can afford to help people out and to give them comfort in that time, that is always a good thing to do. And then, of course, older people and more vulnerable people, if you're doing your grocery shopping, check in with them, check if you can help them provide their groceries so they don't have to put themselves at risk and be around people in the supermarket.
All good stuff, Dan. Before we let you go, in this week's issue, you're celebrating your 1-year anniversary as editor-in-chief of People. Congratulations. Look, when it comes to the number one thing bringing you joy right now amid isolation, what is that thing?
I think the beautiful stories of people doing good is one thing. I think It would be a tie between FaceTiming with little kids and my family and friends, giving you joy in this time, simple pleasures. And then just things like cooking for me is one of the only hobbies that I have. And the idea of just stopping and creating something and just simple pleasures that you didn't have time for before and to enjoy and think about.
Plus your fluffy fat cat.
He's given me a lot of joy, yeah.
Dan, thank you so much. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Alicia Keys is opening up to people about her emotional new autobiography called More Myself, and she's sharing an exclusive excerpt in this week's issue where she reveals her lifelong battle to find and live her truth. She writes that for years, she was building her life around an image of perfection, calling it really oppressive. And she adds, I was clearly a woman who wanted to talk about truth and empowerment and strength, but when I really looked at myself, I realized that my whole life, I've kind of been putting on a mask.
Keys reveals that early on in her career, she felt a deep sense of emptiness and was close to an emotional breakdown. She eventually found love and support in her husband, Swizz Beatz, and they married in 2010. They're parents to 2 sons, 9-year-old Egypt and 5-year-old Genesis. Keys reveals that her second pregnancy came at the worst time ever, as she puts it, but after listening to a song that she and her husband wrote together, she felt, quote, how can I take away the potential for this beautiful child?
Keys shares that even though she had support, she still experienced struggles of self-doubt. But over the years, she's taken some steps to move closer to who she wants to be. She's famous for starting the hashtag no makeup movement and says she was inspired to do so because, quote, I wasn't fake, but I was trying to live up to all these fake ideals.
She says that these days she feels more like an open book, and she adds that that's a beautiful thing. We agree. We love seeing her so comfortable in her own self. Good for Alicia Keys. All right, Laura Prepon is revealing that she hid her bulimia from her That 70s Show castmates. In this week's issue of People, the actress says her co-stars were not aware of her eating disorder. She says, quote, I was very, very private.
Prepon's bulimia began when she was a young model, and it continued through her early acting career. She says her weight fluctuated a lot while on That 70s Show, and that's, quote, I had to have 2 wardrobes. She reveals that she used her period as an excuse.
Yeah, Prepon tells us when she looks back at her time on that show, there were spurts of time that she would stop, but then she would get triggered. She says there were days that were a constant cycle of binging and purging and self-loathing. Prepon always considered herself a strong, independent person, but the compulsion would completely debilitate her.
In her new guidebook to motherhood called You and I as Mothers, Prepon bravely reveals that her mother taught her how to be bulimic when she was 15 years old, a cycle of dysfunction that lasted until her late 20s. She tells people, I think she was trying to help me in her own way. To her, being thin equaled success. In her book, Prepon also opens up about her heartbreaking decision to terminate her second pregnancy after her neonatal specialist told her the baby's brain and bones were not growing and her body was at risk carrying. She says she feared the abuse she previously put her body through was a factor, even after the doctor told her it wasn't.
Prepon leaned on her husband, Ben Foster, for strength. She says he was so supportive, and he knew that they would one day have a healthy sibling for their daughter, Ella, who was born in 2017. And now they do. At the end of February, they welcome their second child, a baby boy. Prepon hopes that her honesty will help others. She says, in order to have a real conversation about motherhood, we need to drop our defenses and share truth.
It's more important than ever to take care of ourselves mentally and physically. And what better time to take care of our skin than now? When you're at home, maybe with a lot of free time on your hands. Well, I got the inside scoop from board-certified dermatologist Dr. Marina Pareto on a few DIY face masks that you can make at home with things from your pantry. And we guarantee they'll leave your face feeling refreshed. Take a look. It's a really stressful time with everything going on in the world. I know my skin's kind of freaking out. You're gonna be walking us through 2 masks that we can put on ourselves, and you can make it from ingredients from in our own cupboard. So I really love this idea. Let's do the first one. I hear it involves some turmeric.
Yes, and turmeric is great spice, right? You could either, I try to put it in my smoothie, not always I love how it tastes, but it's a great mask. And my housekeeper, who's been with me for a very long time, actually introduced me to the mask. You know, she's from Trinidad, and there was like home recipe. So she makes it for me and my staff, and now we're gonna share it with other people.
Great. So what do we all need?
Okay, pretty simple. So you need some turmeric powder, which you have. You need some plain yogurt.
Yep.
And oh, that's nice. And you need some honey.
Great. I have some homemade honey here in a mason jar, so we're pretty legit.
Excellent. So turmeric, besides having a lot of antioxidants, so anti-aging benefits, when you also add honey, it has antibacterial benefits. So now that we, practicing good hygiene and cleanliness, it's also a great mask for the face, because not only for people who normally would break out with acne, but now when you're under a lot of stress, people who didn't break out in the past tend to break out just from the stress.
Yeah, I've been noticing just some little friends down here that I normally don't have. So I'm hoping this mask will help me out. So how much yogurt should we be using? What's the ratio here?
Okay, so ratio for turmeric mask is half a cup of yogurt. So that would be probably like 4 tablespoons.
Okay.
Half a teaspoon of turmeric powder.
Okay.
And then 1 teaspoon of honey.
Okay. And then mix it up real good.
Let's say if you don't have yogurt, you probably could put milk. It's probably going to be too runny. But then, if you have almond milk, maybe you could put it, kind of modify it a little bit, put it in a blender.
How does this look?
That looks good.
Okay. And I know you have some of your own, and you have a friend there that you're going to put it on.
Yes, I have Christina, who's my assistant, who is ready for some mask. Another benefit from turmeric mask, sometimes we do it on before special occasions. It also increases the blood flow to the skin, and after normally we recommend to put the mask on for 15-20 minutes, but we've noticed once you remove the mask, you have like really nice glow. Definitely get some on your lips or your mouth. It's good enough to eat.
And how long should you keep it on your skin?
So normally I would say keep it on the skin for about 20 minutes.
Okay. And if you don't have turmeric in your cupboard, are there any other spices that you could try out on your skin?
I mean, ginger is great to also add to your food, right, to your drinks, but it's also absolutely amazing antioxidant. So if you have ginger powder, if you have ginger root, and if you feel, it's not too runny, you can also always add, to the mask a little oatmeal. It's very nice and soothing. Okay.
How does it feel, Christina?
Feels good.
I actually before put some on my sister Charla, so she's rocking the turmeric mask right here. And Charla, it's been on you for about 10 minutes. How does it feel?
Feels good. None has run into my eyes yet, which I was a little worried about, but
yeah, you guys are gonna have the freshest skin ever. All right, so we have the turmeric mask, which I love, and then you have another mask for us involving avocado.
Yes. So same ingredients, which is very, very simple, right? If you could still use your yogurt, you could still use your honey, and use avocado. And avocado mask is going to be a little bit more moisturizing because avocado is rich in essential oils. And what's good about avocado, you can use it on your face. You can actually use it in your hair as like a stay-in conditioner. And I love using it on the hands. So mask for all.
I forgot to bring conditioner home with me from New York because I'm in Wisconsin right now. So this is perfect. So I can use this as a conditioner.
Yeah, and if you don't want to put yogurt for some reason in your hair, you can substitute yogurt for olive oil.
Okay, I love it because these are all ingredients that most people have.
Right, and now that we're stuck at home, what's better to do than eat and walk around with a mask?
Yeah. So for this one, is it the same thing? How long do you leave it on your skin? What's the key?
I would blend it a little more, but it's okay.
So for you washing, blend it a little more than I did. I think my avocado was a little too,
okay. You know what, it doesn't really matter. Same principle apply. I mean, normally you would want some contact with the skin. So I would say, at least 15 minutes, but if you leave it on for, it's 20 minutes, half an hour, no problem. And if you get it in your mouth, just lick it off. It's delicious.
Very good.
Right? It actually looks pretty fashionable.
You escaped, didn't you?
You make it sound like I was in prison.
Weren't you?
No, but I left without telling anyone.
Why did you leave?
God expected too much of me.
Israeli actress Shira Haas stars in the limited series Unorthodox, which is now streaming on Netflix. It's the true story of a young ultra-Orthodox Jewish woman who flees her religious community to start a new life in Berlin. Now, it's based on author Deborah Feldman's memoir, also titled Unorthodox. Shira stopped by People Now. She talked about meeting Deborah and connecting with the show's protagonist, Esther. Watch this.
She's amazing. I didn't meet her before we started shooting. I also met her like during filming. And we really had this connection, special connection. I think it's like it has to happen, right? Because it's so bizarre and amazing. And we kept in touch also after the production, yeah, when I was in Berlin. And,
okay,
yeah.
So then it built from there. So the interaction's good, but then what really made you excited about this?
About this role?
Yeah.
I mean, so many things. You have this as an actor that sometimes when you get the role, you see it, you're like feeling that you have to do it, you need if there's such thing. But this is like the strongest feeling I've ever had to tell this story. It's so well written. It's such a complex character, probably the most complex character I've ever did. And it's really a gift for an actress. And to tell this story about this girl finding her voice against all odds, and it's in such a unique coming-of-age story. It really blew my mind.
And so Esther here is the protagonist.
Yes.
We kind of talked about this a little bit, things you learned about her or as you played the role. But what did you connect to the most? That like, oh my gosh, this is just like me. Anything?
Of course. I mean, I hope that a lot of things, because I think she's amazing. I think she's a very present character. It's also her blessing and also her curse that she's very, very present. If you talk, she's really aware of her feelings. And that's why it's also very hard for her to grow up where she grew up, right? And that's what I really adore in her, and I hope that I have it. And I think we're also, also when I was young, I was very curious and I always had questions, and I was like, and I think we're very similar in that. And I really hope that in other stuff, but I can't tell.
Okay.
I hope so.
Earlier this week, we showed you guys how to make the perfect pizza at home. And today we're taking you inside People's Pantry once again to show you delicious recipes for an appetizer, entree, and dessert that you can use to wow your family, starting with this.
Fried zucchini is kind of just a classic appetizer, but we're playing it up by making them into rounds. And they're zucchini stuffed with mozzarella, and it's just a cheesy, delicious finger food. Cut the ends of the zucchini off and cut it in half. Using a spoon or a core, remove the seeds. Place a stick of mozzarella inside the cored center and chop the zucchini into even rounds. Dip each zucchini round in flour, then in egg, and then in breadcrumbs. Place the zucchini rounds in a heated pan of canola oil and fry for 3 minutes on each side on medium-high heat. Remove the zucchini rounds and place on a paper towel to soak up the extra oil. Sprinkle with coarse salt and serve with a marinara dipping sauce.
These fried mozzarella stuffed zucchini are the perfect blend of texture and flavor. You got the crispy breadcrumbs, the crisp tender zucchini, and the gooey stretchy mozzarella.
It kind of eases your guilt a little bit. Instead of just having fried mozzarella cheese, at least there's a vegetable in it.
Anybody else really hungry right now? Time for the main course. We've got just the recipe to take your chicken cooking skills to the next level.
This recipe is an upgrade to the supermarket rotisserie chickens we all know and love. You're making a whole chicken here, so everyone in the family can pick out their favorite parts.
In a large freezer Ziploc bag, grate the zest from 1 lemon to equal 1 teaspoon. Combine 2 cups of buttermilk, a 1/4 cup of oil, 1 tablespoon of chopped thyme, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 4 smashed garlic cloves, 1 tablespoon of salt, and seal the bag and shake to evenly distribute. Add 1 whole chicken to the bag, seal, and chill for 8 hours, shaking the bag occasionally. Remove the chicken from the marinade and pat it dry with paper towels. Season the chicken with 1 tablespoon of salt, using 2 teaspoons on the outside of the chicken, and 1 teaspoon in the cavity. Stuff the cavity with lemon halves, 2 smashed garlic cloves, and 6 thyme sprigs. Tie the legs together with kitchen twine and tuck the wingtips under. Transfer the chicken to a large cast iron skillet. Place a piece of parchment paper on top of the chicken. Top with 2 large sheets of aluminum foil and crimp around the edges of the skillet to seal. Bake the chicken in an oven heated to 300 degrees, and that will take about 1.5 hours. Remove the chicken from the oven and discard the parchment paper and foil. Increase the oven temperature to broil and baste the chicken with pan juices. Return the chicken to the oven and broil until the skin is dark golden brown, about 10 to 12 minutes. Let the chicken rest before carving. Garnish with thyme leaves and enjoy. Buttermilk is often used as a brine when you're frying chicken, but it works equally well for a number of different cooking methods, including roasting as we're doing here. That brine is gonna tenderize the chicken, break it down, add a lot of flavor, add a little bit of tang to your final product.
Can't wait to try that. And finally, you gotta leave room for dessert. Watch.
This peanut butter and chocolate skillet cookie is one of my favorite recipes ever. You just put everything into the same pan, so there's not much cleanup. It's so easy. In a heated skillet, melt half a cup of butter. Add in half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of white sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Whisk it together. Add in 2 large eggs and whisk those in. In a small bowl, mix 1 cup of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/3 of a cup of cocoa powder. Add dry mixture to the skillet and mix well. Fold in 1 cup of peanut butter chips and bake at 350 degrees for 15 to 18 minutes. Remove the skillet from the oven and allow it to cool for 5 minutes. Top with scoops of vanilla ice cream, peanut butter cups, and drizzle with melted peanut butter and hot chocolate sauce.
Skillet cookies are all the rage, and they're totally craveable because you can not only bake them in a skillet, but you can eat them right out of it.
All right, Nick Offerman is the latest celeb to swing by couch surfing to take a look back at some of his most beloved performances, starting with his very first role, which was on the popular NBC series ER. The show first aired in 1994 and featured so many of Hollywood's biggest stars, like George Clooney, who played Dr. Doug Ross from 1994 to 1999.
Yeah, Nick Offerman guest starred on the show before Clooney left in its 5th season. During his short time on set, the two shared a special bonding moment that they both remember to this day.
George Clooney was still on the show. So this is late, this is like 98 maybe, 97 or 98. And they had this big, a huge pot of soup going backstage. It had this maritime feel, like we were building a boat or something, but instead of a ship, instead of a show. And Clooney and I found ourselves eating soup backstage, and we said, I feel like we're sailors. And we started singing The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot. And the thing about Clooney is, people always say, like, he's a great guy, everybody loves him, and he always remembers everybody's name.
Is that true?
It's a thing, it's like a great politician trick. So I saw him 7 years later at like an Oscar party, and he goes, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I was like, do I you now? How does this work, George? Do we step outside or? Honey, I'll be right back. I've been Clooney'd. It was good soup.
You can dive into more of Nick Offerman's roles when the latest episode of Couch Surfing drops on PeopleTV this Friday. Check it out. All right, guys, coming up tomorrow, Jesse Tyler Ferguson tells us about life after Modern Family and how he and his husband are getting ready to welcome their new baby.
Plus, from ab exercises to strength training moves, Denise Austin's got a workout we can do from the comfort of our homes. I tried it, and Jeremy, I was curling mayonnaise jars. It wasn't happening.
Use what you have. I understand.
All right, thank you so much for watching. And as always, our thanks to Better Homes and Gardens products sold exclusively at Walmart for helping deck out our set for in-studio interviews, which of course were taped before we all started working remotely.
Yeah, we love the look. We love how fresh it seems, and we can't wait to get back in there when it's safe. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Have a great day.